Hi students, welcome to the EVS class. In last session under the chapter of agriculture, we discussed about what are the importance of the farmers, and also we discussed about different types of the farmers, isn't it? Farm laborers, isn't it? Small scale farmers, large scale farmers, and also we discussed what are the problems faced by the farm laborers, what are the problems faced by the small scale farmers, what are the problems faced by the large scale farmers in the last session. In today's session under the chapter of agriculture, we discussing about what are the different types of the lands here, that is rain fed agricultural land and irrigated agricultural land. What is meant by the rain fed agricultural land and what is meant by the irrigated agricultural land. And also in the irrigated agricultural land we are going to discuss about two types of the irrigations, that is drip irrigation and spray irrigation. And also we discussed in this class what are the types of the farming and also what are the methods of cultivation here. First, I am considering the rain-fed agricultural land. We are going to differentiate the cultivation land into two types based on the rain here. So, rain-fed agricultural lands are the lands which comes under the less rainfall areas. The agricultural land which comes under less rainfall areas, such agricultural land, it is called as a rain fed agricultural land, because in that area they are going to get, the farmers or the land is going to get very less amount of the rain. Using that less amount of the rain, the farmers are going to grow the crops here. Usually in such a cases, in such a lands, the grains are going to be grown, small grains, that is maize, jawar, such grains are going to be grown in rain fed agricultural land. And this rain fed cultivation, the rain fed cultivation, it is also called as the rain fed cultivation. The rain fed cultivation is also called as kushki or dry land cultivation. This rain fed cultivation, it is also called as a dry land cultivation or a kushki. Why? Because the farmers which are going to work in the rain fed agricultural land, they are mainly dependent on the rainwater, so therefore it is called as a kushki or a dry land cultivation. So second type of the land, it is nothing but the irrigated agricultural land. See here, so the main source of the water for the cultivation, it is nothing but the rain. So in the irrigated agricultural land, the water will be stored in some of the sources like wells, bore wells, ponds, canals. Using the water which is present in the land, in the ponds, in the bore wells, in the wells, the irrigation, the agricultural process will be, in the agricultural process, the farmers are going to use the water which is present in the water sources like ponds, rivers, and also bore wells and wells. Such a type of the agricultural land, it is called as a irrigated agricultural land. In the irrigation process, they are going to utilize the water from the water sources like ponds, rivers, bore wells, and also wells here. So the farmers are going, generally they are going to use different types of the irrigation methods, but in your section, in your class, we are going to study about only two types of the irrigation, that is nothing but one, it is a drip irrigation and another one is a spray irrigation. These are the two types of the irrigation method which is utilized in the irrigated agricultural land. What is meant by the drip irrigation? What is meant by the spray irrigation? So the drip irrigation, it is nothing but in the irrigation process. What is irrigation? Irrigation, it is nothing but the supply of water to the crops. So in the drip irrigation process, the water will be supplied to the plants, to the roots, directly to the roots by drop. Is it clear? So the crops are grown in the field here. They are going to make a pipelines with the stem of the plants, and at the pipelines there are small holes are present. Due to that holes, from that holes, drop by drop water will be supplied to the plant here. So such type of the irrigation, that is called it as a drip irrigation. And what is meant by the spray irrigation? Spray irrigation, it is nothing but spraying of water on the crops here like a rain. In the when we are going to consider the drip irrigation, or in the drip irrigation process, the water will be supplied to the plant's stem or towards the plant root by drop. But in the case of the spray irrigation, water will be sprayed like a rain on the crop here. Using the spray irrigation and drip irrigation in the irrigated agricultural land, where the farmers are going to grow the crops. So why the drip irrigation and spray irrigation are utilized here? What are the uses of the drip irrigation and spray irrigation? The first one use, it is in the less amount of the water we can grow more amount of the crop here. That is, it reduces the loss of water. And also the drip irrigation and spray irrigation, it is helpful for the avoiding soil corrosion. It helpful for to reduce the soil corrosion here, and also it helpful to grow the plants very well because to providing the good amount of the water. So these are the simple uses of the drip irrigation and the spray irrigation here. So next I am considering types of the farming. Usually the farmers are going to do two types of the farming here. What are the two types of the farming? That is nothing but the organic farming and the chemical farming. What is meant by the organic farming? What is meant by the chemical farming? So in the process of the agriculture, the farmer is need to provide some of the nutrients to the plants. So the plants need, the crop needs some of the nutrients, but that nutrients, how the farmers are going to provide that nutrients, that will be differentiate the different types of the farming, organic farming and the chemical farming. In the case of the organic farming, what is meant by the organic farming here? It is nothing but in the organic farming, the farmers are going to supply organic materials only. To the plants, the farmers are going to provide only organic material, organic manure, organic fertilizer, isn't it? So they are going to use only organic materials to grow the crops. But in the case of the chemical farming, the farmers are going to utilize chemical fertilizers, pesticides. Pesticides are the chemicals which are going to utilize to control the diseases and also to control the insects here. So in the what is meant by the chemical farming? It is nothing but in the farming, the farmers are usually used the chemicals like a chemical fertilizer, pesticides. Such type of the farming, it is called it as a chemical farming. But in the organic farming, the farmers are going to use the manure, isn't it? They are going to use the manure and organic material. So and also they are going to utilize the fertilizer which is produced by the earthworms. So such type of the farming, it is called it as a organic farming. This is all about two types of the farming here. And also the farmers generally they are going to use different methods for the cultivation. So normally they are going to use three types of the cultivation process here, that are nothing but intensive farming, mixed farming and plantation farming. What is intensive farming? What is mixed farming? What is plantation farming? Intensive farming, it is nothing but in a same land for a year, farmers are going to grow 2 or 3 different types of the crops. In the same land, I am considering about 1 acre land. In a 1 acre land, and a farmer is used to grow 2 or 3 types of the grains, 2 or 3 types of the crops for 1 year. That type of the farming, it is called it as a intensive farming. And what is meant by the mixed farming? Mixed farming, it is nothing but with the cropping, farmers are used to make, they are going to use to cultivate, or they are going to use to they are uses some of the animals, isn't it? So such type of the farming, it is called it as a mixed farming. In addition to the cultivation process, the farmers are going to utilize, they are going to make a fishery, they are going to make a poultry. What is meant by the poultry? Poultry, it is nothing but the farmers are going to make, so they are having the hens here, so that is nothing but the poultry. With the cultivation, the normally farmers are going to do, in addition to the cultivation process of crops, cattle rearing, poultry, sericulture, and also apiculture will be done by the farmers. Such type of the farming, it is called it as a mixed farming. And what is meant by the plantation farming? Plantation farming, it is nothing but the farmers are usually they are used to grow the different types of the fruits, coffee. They are not going to grow any crops here, they are not going to grow groundnuts, such like, but they are going to grow only the coffee, fruits, different types of the fruits. Such a type of the farming, it is called it as a plantation farming. For example, some of the farmers are usually grow only coconut trees in their land. That such type of the farming, it is called it as a plantation farming. And the last thing of this chapter, it is nothing but the storage. After the cropping, when the farmers are going to crop, at the final stage they are going to get the food materials, they are going to get the grains here. But one problem arises in the farmer mind or in your mind, where the grains are going to be stored. In ancient days, the grains are going to be stored under the ground. The farmers are used to make big holes or big digs under the ground, and they are going to pour that all the grains inside the ground. By filling the soil on the grains, they are going to store the grains. That is underground grain system, that is underground granary. And also another one, it is type is nothing but the bamboo granary. Using the bamboo trees, using the bamboo plant, they are going to make some of the buckets. In that buckets, they are going to store the grain materials. So it is nothing but the bamboo granary. But in nowadays, government are supplying, the state government and also central government, they are helping to the farmers. They are making big godowns to store the grain materials which are produced, which are get by the farmers here. These are also called it as a warehouses. In the warehouses, nowadays farmers are going to store their food material. So this is all about the storage, how the farmers are going to store the food materials. In this lesson, we discussed about what are farmers, what are different types of the farmers, what are the importance of the farmers, what are the different types of the lands, what are the different types of the cultivation methods, and what are different types of the farming here. So this completes your another one most important lesson, that is nothing but the agriculture. In next class, in next session, we are going to continue your next lesson. Thank you.